Hey guys, welcome back. So today I am finally planting my sweet potatoes. I've been working on slips since the end of February, and it's finally time that these got some good roots and I am going to plant. So at the beginning of May, I was just now starting to get my slips put on, and I was a little worried that I wasn't going to have them in time. So what ended up happening was I ended up looking to see how much slips were to purchase if I were to buy them, because I've never bought them before. I've only grown sweet potatoes one time and I was given the slips and they were very expensive. So I decided not to give up and just keep on with it, because they also had a ship date of the end of May. So I was like, well, I might as well just keep up with it for a few more weeks and see what happens. And if I don't have any sweet potatoes, well, I'll plant the A-frame with my winter squash that I was planning on as a backup. But we got some good sweet potatoes. So these are just from sweet potatoes from the grocery store. I honestly have no idea what the varieties are. I'm pretty sure I do have one Japanese sweet potato and one regular sweet potato. I can tell the difference between the leaves here, but honestly, I should have plenty of slips. Overall, these look so good, and I'm so excited that I actually got slips off of my plant. I really wasn't sure there for a while, and honestly, the end of February ended up working out really well. Like, we just now started getting like really warm, and sweet potatoes are like more of a tropical thing. They like it really warm. And I will say, when it comes to doing the slips, it wasn't until I had them on a heat mat, and then I also had them domed, like a humidity dome, just to trap the humidity. Once I did that, the sweet potatoes really got going, but they were very slow to start, but they look really good, and I'm so excited to finally plant these today. So today is May 29th, and sweet potatoes take anywhere from 90 to 120 days, I have seen, and that lands us at like the 26th, 27th of August to the 26th, 27th of September. And even if it were to take longer than that, we still have weeks on, we still have like 2 to 3 weeks before our average first frost. So we should have plenty of time for these. The one time I did grow sweet potatoes, I had no idea what I was doing. I think I planted them pretty late, and who knows, honestly. Hopefully I have better luck this round. This will be my only my second time growing them. So like I said, I have quite a few of these things, and they're going right here on my A-frame trellis. These are 50-gallon grow pots, and this A-frame trellis here, I want to say it's probably at least 6 foot high, so the vines should be able to do whatever they really want. A lot of these cool other crops are all coming out now, and then I have hibiscus in the front, and that's only going to get 2 to 3 feet tall. Obviously there's a sunflower there, but I don't think it will affect things too much. But yeah, I have a lot more conventional sweet potato than the Japanese, so I'm gonna kind of try to divide maybe things out and do half and half. Honestly, again, I should have plenty. I need to get the other ones as well. So again, these ones are a little bit further along, but those roots are so crazy. And then these ones really started to get going the last week or so, but the roots are looking really strong. We are supposed to get rain over the next few days, so I think this will be perfect to get these in today. I would have got these in over the last few days. I just really haven't had much time. I was thinking I was gonna have the garden fully planted for at least a week, but the broccoli actually started to come out yesterday. I harvested a good amount of the broccoli. I have probably a few smaller heads left to harvest, but we've been warm, and I've noticed that the broccoli was further along. I think last year, I want to say I harvested it mid-June, but the heads were bigger than last year and everything looks good. They're also in a different spot. So this spot is just a little bit more sunny, and they've done really well over here. So this area might do just good in general for a lot of my spring stuff. Like, look at this. This is one single one. That one is like amazing looking. I'll have a few small ones left, but for the most part, all of my big ones will be used, which will be great. while I was getting everything watered in, there's all the plants, I noticed that more of the spinach that I planted is actually bolting. So I'm just gonna go ahead and grab all of this for the chickens. Spinach is always done better for me in the fall anyway. Here, girls. So far, I want to say this is my best broccoli year yet. So I posted yesterday that I harvested a good amount of broccoli, and a lot of people had questions because a lot of people's broccoli is currently bolting. So I always had the same problem, and then I tried this variety called the Bell Star, and the Bell Star is a hybrid variety that's supposed to be more stress resistant. And I started it because we have really crazy fluctuating temperatures in the spring and the fall, and that's stress on your plants. So I gave that a try last spring. Great harvest. I did leave the plants where I harvested the heads of broccoli because I might still get some offshoots, like little heads of broccoli that shoot off the sides. But I do still have a few over here. And one thing I actually want to do tonight is look closely inside the head of the broccoli as much as I can, because I did find a decent amount of little caterpillars in the broccoli when I was cleaning it. And if this is going to stay out here for a little bit longer, I don't want caterpillars to damage it. I think I caught it pretty much right on time when it comes to harvesting these and putting them away. Here's all of the little itty bitty sweet potatoes I have left. I do need to harvest more off of my plants downstairs and throw them in water. At this point, these will just be backup plants if any of these die, and then I can just plop one in. Otherwise, I don't think I have any other room where I can plant sweet potatoes. So I might reach out to a friend or two and see if anyone wants some sweet potatoes. So as far as putting anything else over here, I didn't have any plans. This was something I kept flip-flopping on because I figured these would be in until June, and then come about August, I would need to replant out this area for fall. And this was an area I was wanting to plant out for fall. So it's one of those things where I don't know, it's kind of a toss-up. To be honest, we'll see if I fill it up with something. I mean, you can't count me on it. Oh, there's one. But yeah, the broccoli has done really well over here this spring. This was a first. So you can see this head is a bit smaller, so I went ahead and left it for now. And what I'm doing is just slightly pulling on these florets and seeing if I can find any caterpillars that are trapped in these crevices like that. There's two right here. So I'm gonna go ahead and grab this first one if I can. Let me get this second one. All right, so that is what I found. Get them. Told you I would find a straggler scape or two before this whole garlic process was over. So it's looking like I do need to trellis up where the dahlias are currently. So I have a whole system here where it's called the four to weave, where I have a T-post and you weave twine to the other end through the plants, and it just helps everything. We've had some crazy wind this spring, that's for sure. Do I know why it's called the four to weave? No, absolutely zero idea. But I'm pretty sure that's what it's called. So this is something I'm starting to see differences in. So I planted Roma variety tomatoes, like all the same type of tomato in 3 different spots. All 3 spots had probably slightly different amendments to the soil, probably a little bit different makeup. They all get different sunshine, but all the plants were started at the same time in my basement. So what's interesting is these ones over here, the ones closest to me, these ones are my tallest plants. They are putting on a good amount of flowers at this point, and these were the ones that I actually just threw a little bit of bone meal at the base of the hole when I planted them out because I forgot to amend this area. And then over here, my other spot that gets the most sun, these Romas are actually on the less bushier side, and these are the ones that I'm actually getting fruit on already. So you can see all the fruit here, all the fruit there on that one, so that's pretty crazy. And then my last ones over here are the ones right in the two there, kind of hard to distinguish against all the other tomatoes, but they're the shortest, which is kind of interesting because they are all the same plant. So very cool. I'm going to be really curious to see the difference throughout the season when it comes to those 3 spots. Okay, let's grab my little sunflower heads from last year. But anyway, look at this chamomile. I don't know if you guys remember or not, but I picked this thing pretty much bare last week. So tonight before I go in, maybe I will get this picked because it is blooming like crazy. I have a few different sunflowers along the fence. I have a bunch of these goldies because that's just what I have on hand since I saved so much. And then along the other side over there where the garlic is at, along that fence, I have Mongolian giants, and they seem to be doing pretty well. So I hope we get some big tall sunflowers this year. Right in front of me as well, I also believe I have another volunteer squash or pumpkin. So far the other one is still hanging on. I saw the squash vine borer. I was gonna check to see if I could figure out where their eggs are at and whatnot, but honestly I'm not trying to put too much effort into a squash plant. I know that would give me trouble the entire season. Green beans are doing so well. They are starting to trellis like crazy. I kind of need to help them out a little bit. Out of my 7 years gardening, I have never had a year look the same. This year has been very mild spring-wise. We've had very good weather outside of almost getting struck by hail countless times. We've dodged a few bullets there. We have had a lot of wind, so we have had a little bit of wind damage on a few things. But overall, this spring going into summer has been very favorable for the plants. The plants have done really well. And I also feel like this is the year I've just been a little bit more attentive to like nutrition needs and things like that. So that also plays a huge factor. I really feel like this year the plants are just a little bit more advanced than they were last year, and I feel like things are just doing a little bit better. I've had years where my springs have been pretty rainy and cool, and things really didn't start taking off until mid-June. This year, I'm already starting to get a few peppers, and that's also for a few factors. So this year, I think I've mentioned this maybe once or twice, is this was the year I decided not to top my peppers, and it was also the year I decided not to pinch any blooms. So people say to pinch the blooms until you plant out your plants in the garden, just to help them establish down, focus their like energy into their root systems. And then also people suggest topping the pepper plants. So just cutting the very like top portion of the plant. That will create a bushier plant than a taller plant. And I will say, the first few years I've gardened, I didn't do either of those things, and I had such beautiful peppers. And I've done a various combination of both those things, or one or the other of those things, for the last handful of years. And I feel like my peppers have just never been as great. So this year I decided to just not touch them. So I left the blooms on. I didn't top any of the pepper plants. So I'm already starting to get like a pepper every here or there. I harvested a banana pepper the other day, and the peppers are looking really good. So there's so many different little things that you can do yourself to like just change your gardening year. But then the weather plays a huge role when it comes to your garden. And then yeah, so I don't know. Gardening is so fun for that because there's so many different factors that go into just how successful your year is, or how unsuccessful it is, or just how the overall season just really looks. The cucumbers we planted are popping up. This one little area really popped up. I might as well thin them out while they're really tiny and I'm right here and I'm not forgetting about them. Let's give these little cucumber sprouts to the girls. Here, ladies. Yeah, I'm just going through here and kind of helping the beans trellis up. Sometimes when it comes to the trellises establishing, you kind of have to help them up on the trellis the way that you want them to be up. But these beans are really starting to take off. I'm really excited to see the difference this year with the trellis in particular, because I've had a lot of well, cucumbers, but melons and squash on here, but I think the beans are going to fill out this trellis much faster than any of those things would, because beans, I mean, they grow really quickly within a few months time. You can already see, like, we're up to here already with the vine. But yeah, sometimes you just gotta give your vines a little bit of help so they can be exactly where you want them to be. We have our first loofahs on the plant, and our loofah is already at eye level, which is crazy. I feel like this is turning into a mini garden tour, but things change so fast right now. So let's look at the onions here. Look how much they are bulbing up at the moment. They are doing so good. They're starting to bulb up so nicely. Look at this. So good. They have roughly, I want to say, like 5-6 weeks probably at minimum in the garden still. Could be a little off on that, but yeah, the onions are looking so good. I also drink a lot of chamomile and lavender, so I have lavender here and chamomile. I would personally like to get to the point where I'm not buying teas, but I still just love to buy teas. All of the teas we buy are mostly just herbal teas. But yeah, I love chamomile. I drink chamomile almost every day. So I've been really trying to be on top of my harvesting game. It almost sounds like bubble wrap. Like, I feel like that's what I think about when I am harvesting. Like, it gives me that same type of like vibe with bubble wrap. Like when you get a few, sounds like bubble wrap. Got that one picked pretty good. The snapdragons are catching the light right now, and they look just absolutely beautiful. I'm just loving these flowers so much. I'm starting to get some more like pinks throughout and everything, but I think they are just so gorgeous. So one thing I think that's really cool about a snapdragon is you can press on the back of the flower here and they open up like a dragon's mouth. Isn't that the coolest thing? I think that's what makes snapdragons even cooler. That little guy's hanging out. Oh, but they look so gorgeous. We're officially in the 2-3 month window where we have the longest days of the year. So right now we are starting to get dark around like 8:30 or so. I can't remember exactly when sunset is, but you can still see daylight at 9 o'clock, and I just thrive during this time of year. I feel like I'm able to accomplish so much, get so much done. I'm able to spend so much time in nature, and I think the approach to the longest day of the year, because summer solstice is our longest day of the year, which I think is the 21st or the 22nd of June. And as we approach this next like month-long stretch, we're already like the 28th or 29th at this point. It's one of my favorite times of the year because we just have such long days, and I know they're just going to keep getting longer until they approach the end of June. And then I almost start getting a little sad, which is crazy because fall honestly was my absolute favorite time of the year as a kid. But the moment summer solstice gets here, I'm like, no, our daylight starts to get shorter. And it makes me so sad because when it gets dark at 6 p.m. come like end of October, or I guess that's more beginning of November once the time change happens. I just hate it. I love when the days get longer. So from the December to June, our days continuously get longer, but this little stretch right here where the next month is some of our longest days makes me so excited. Another good amount. I'm gonna have to kind of go through and just pick at the stems a little bit, but that is another good amount of chamomile harvested. Come on, girls, let's go to bed. Pump the brakes. Might help if I have my basket. Nice, girls. We got 6 today. Look at those beauties. Tonight's little haul, all the chamomile and eggs. Are you having fun? Where are we going? Where are we going, honey? Oh, hi. Yeah, you're silly. Every night before I go in for the evening, I let the cats out one by one so they can have some outdoor time. This was something I trained Khaleesi on, gosh, years ago, and it was pretty easy with her. You just have to be very stern with your nose. He listens a little bit better than she does, but he's been starting to give me a little bit harder time now that he's feeling a little bit more confident. But I just let them out for like 5-10 minutes in the morning and at night with me. And they do really well. It's their favorite time of the day. So even though I would like to go inside and go ahead and get a shower, I know that they love it. So I make sure to do it. One thing I love about the chickens is they put themselves to bed when it gets dark out, and it's one of my favorite things about them. It's so cool. All right, guys, well, the sun is completely setting now, so I'm going to get inside, but thank you so much for joining me for just a very chill evening. I wanted to take you along since I was getting the sweet potatoes planted, but sometimes it's really nice just to pick up the camera and have no really plan on what I'm going to film and just kind of see where the evening takes me. But either way, thank you so much for joining me tonight. I'll see you guys all in the next one. Bye.